What's up, VR enthusiasts and interested onlookers? What a crazy week it has been in terms of VR news, particularly when it comes to headset news, and Valve dropping the whole bomb of the Valve Index. But today, and I know I'm recording this on April Fools, on April 1st, but today we've had at least 2 different leaks when it comes to Valve Index, and we had a whole lot of information confirmed by Valve themselves. So let's take a look at everything we know about Valve Index and the rest of rumors and speculations that are floating around out there. So we're going to start with information that has been confirmed by Valve itself, and then we start diving deeper into tinfoil. So at first, earlier today, we had an intentional leak from one of the developers about some Steam VR settings that revealed some information about Valve Index, but later on in the day, an actual Steam store page popped up for the headset itself. It's not available anymore, but people have grabbed screenshots. They're available all over Twitter and Reddit, and I believe the first person who did that was Wario64. He's the one that stumbled upon this Steam page, and later on Valve themselves have confirmed a whole slew of information about Valve Index. So first things first, we can expect an official announcement from Valve on May 1st, all about this headset in particular, with the expected date of shipping to be June 15th. Now that date will be like a floating date, but Valve has confirmed that they are targeting June shipment for this headset. The store page that has popped up, which is not available anymore, has been confirmed to be real. So a lot of information that we see here is what we can expect from the headset. Now there is some placeholder text in here, your usual lorem ipsum, but it is more for the marketing information for this page, not the exact specs. But forget about that, let's take a look at the hardware specifications themselves. Valve Index comes with the integrated headphones, and there's a tether with DisplayPort 1.2 and USB 3.0 connection. If we scroll down to the minimum requirements, we can actually see that it says DisplayPort 1.2 and USB 2.0 plus port required. And with recommended settings, they ask for an available 3.0 plus port required for headset pass-through camera and USB port support, meaning that you need a 3.0 slot for the pass-through camera, as well as perhaps there's some sort of modularity built in. And you can see in the actual picture of the headset, right in the middle, there's the slot that looks suspiciously a lot like possible slot for Leap Motion. That is the piece of hardware for hand tracking. That has not been confirmed, and there are rumors there is a possible USB slot on the headset itself for exact this purpose, for modularity, to add more equipment like Leap Motion on top of the headset, but all of that is speculation at this point in time. But on the point of minimum system requirements, actually looking at the specs, they are very reasonable. I think these ones match the original Rift CV1 release. But going back to the hardware specs, they include 2 phase gaskets for narrow and wide faces, which is actually quite cool, so you can customize the headset to better fit you, and we already know that it will come with the hardware IPD adjustment, once again to better fit your face. And looking at the picture itself, once again we can see there is some sort of a knob on the right hand side of the headset. So there's been some speculation that this could be a focus or a volume adjustment for the integrated headphones, but likely this is probably the head strap adjustment. It's interesting that it's actually going to be on the right hand side as opposed to like at the back or at the top, but very likely this is something for the head strap, at least that's my speculation at this point in time. Now the most interesting tidbit of information here in hardware specs is that it mentions the power adapter. Now this actually raises more questions than answers in my opinion, because perhaps this points to a possibility of a wireless setup with the Valve Index. There's been very little talk on this and not a lot of rumors floating around, but I'm not sure what the power adapter could be used for. The Valve knuckles, which are now going to be renamed to Index controllers, are going to be charged by USB. That's actually mentioned on a separate store page for the knuckles themselves. And the whole store setup points to the fact that Valve Index will be sold as a package or piecemeal for each particular hardware. So you can buy the headset by itself, the Index controllers, as well as the external sensors, the Lighthouse 2.0 sensors, which have been confirmed. So this headset will have external tracking. There is no mention on the store page whatsoever about the inside-out tracking. And looks like the 2 front cameras are just pass-through cameras. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later on, probably at the end of the video. So this is the information that has been confirmed so far. Now let's go a little bit more deeper into the tinfoil territory with some speculations and rumors. Starting off with the integrated headphones, we can see that actually it's an open bag design, and there's a possibility that they will have haptic feedback. The patent for a new chaperone system, which has been filed recently, mentions something about warning vibrations, so There's definitely a possibility of haptic feedback within the headphones. I'm not sure whether it's going to be just a warning system for when you leave in your play space area or whether it's going to be a built-in functionality into the VR experiences. Now on the video side of specs, we know from last year's leak that the field of view is supposed to be 135 degrees, and you can see that extended display in the picture of the headset itself, but none of that has been confirmed yet. Interestingly, a Reddit user described a possible reason as to why Valve Index is called Index, and that has to do with the patent filed by Valve last year. If you look at the logo itself, you can see that what it represents is an eyeball and two lenses. So basically what this is going to be is a double Fresnel lens system, which has the potential to produce very high quality visuals. So forget about all the God rays, the aberrations, as well as the screen door effect. Possibly this will be a thing of the past when it comes to Valve Index. And we also know, thanks to the very first leak of the day that I mentioned earlier in the video, that the display will have 90Hz refresh rate. Basically, one of the developers that works closely with Valve, Zulubu Productions, accidentally showed a snippet of Steam VR settings in the YouTube video. Since then, the YouTube video has been trimmed to remove that particular leak, but some screenshots do exist even though they're a little bit fuzzy. So this is the new Steam VR status window. We can see Valve Index as well as the two Index controllers and the two Lighthouse 2.0 sensors. I got these screenshots from an UploadVR article that is linked in the description of this video, and the next one is very blurry, but there's still some information that we can infer from it. The frame time indicator in the bottom left corner says 11.1 milliseconds, and that translates to 90Hz refresh rate. And then we can also see the current settings render for each eye. Now this is where it gets a little bit complicated and rather interesting, and this is totally complete speculation at this point in time. But what we can see is that the resolution has been scaled down to 90%, and the current resolution per eye is 1913 by 2125 pixels. That is the render resolution within the Steam VR software itself. Now render resolution is not the same as the panel resolution in the headset itself. Typically, render resolution is higher than the panel resolution to increase the picture quality, and I encourage you to read the UploadVR article as it goes in depth about the differences between render resolution and the panel resolution and what it all means. But forgoing all the math and all the details, it looks like the leak from last year, which said that the Valve headset will have the same resolution as Vive Pro at 1440 by 1600. And actually, in my previous video I made a total noob mistake and mentioned the wrong resolution. I'm sorry about that. I actually mentioned the original Vive resolution, which is 1080 by 1200. Vive Pro is 1440 by 1600. The thing is though, because of this double Fresnel lens setup and this new headset, we don't actually know what is the relationship between the render resolution and the panel resolution, whether it has the same ratio of conversion as the older headsets. But at least we can speculate that the minimum resolution that the panel will have is 1440p. BOE Displays actually produces the LCD screen at 1440p that is used on both Oculus Go and Rift S, so it's possible it's going to be the same screen as those two headsets. But we also know that this year both BOE and JDI, the display manufacturers, will produce 2K screens for VR headsets. These are LCD panels with BOE having refresh rate of 90Hz and JDI having refresh rate of 120Hz. Now it's totally unknown whether Valve Index will have a BOE or JDI screen, but because of the 90Hz refresh rate that has been kind of confirmed, it's possible to assume that perhaps the BOE 90Hz 2K screen will be used, and that will put the resolution of Valve Index at 2160 by 2376. The JDI 120Hz screen will have a resolution of 2160 by 2432, so a bit of a bigger screen and a higher refresh rate for JDI, but at this point this is total speculation, and it's even unknown whether these two screens will be used in Valve Index. For all we know, it is a 1440p kind of display. So that's everything we know about Valve Index so far, and more information will be coming May 1st from Valve themselves. It looks like this is going to be a very expensive headset, particularly if you have to purchase everything together, the headset, the controllers and the sensor system. The most interesting parts of all the leaks so far for me is the fact that the description does include a power adapter. We know that the controls are going to be charged by a USB, so you don't need a power adapter for those, but what could it possibly be used for in a headset? This may point towards the wireless capabilities, and that would be quite epic and exciting if this headset could come both tethered as well as wireless. Of course, there's also a possibility of the modular equipment being attached to the front like the Leap Motion or whatever else Valve comes up with, and maybe the power adapter is needed to power that particular modular addition to the headset. So that's really unknown at this point. And the other thing that I'm curious about is that are those cameras in the front just for the pass-through? That seems to be like a little bit of an overkill to have those two cool cameras for stereoscopic vision, I suppose, just to take a look outside of your headset. So I still have my fingers crossed and holding out for a possibility maybe it has some sort of an augmented reality or native hand tracking capabilities within the headset. That would be pretty cool too. So what do you think about this headset? Will you cash in all your savings just to get it? This is definitely seems tempting at this point in time, looking at all the specs provided so far, and we don't even have the whole story yet. I predict that the price is going to be $800 at least, if not more. Thank you so much for watching. It's very exciting times for the VR headset market, and please subscribe to my channel for more VR videos like this one. I'll see you in my next one.